Yo, what's good people? My name is Kevin and today I'm gonna take you guys through what supplements and gym equipment I use. So let's get into it. Alright everyone, now before I start this video, I just want to make a quick disclaimer and say, I'm not a physician, I'm not a doctor, I'm just some guy on YouTube that has a passion for fitness. So obviously I'm gonna give you guys very specific information, but obviously do your own research and go based off of what you know as well. I'll give you guys the best information based on the research that I've done, but you should always do your own research as well. Alright guys, now that that's out of the way, we're going to start this video off with what gym equipment I use, and then in the end we're going to get into what supplements I use. Additionally, for my gym equipment, I'm going to start with upper body and make my way down as we go on, so let's get into it. Alright guys, so first up, we got gloves. Now, gloves aren't the most useful thing in the gym, you can definitely do without them. They definitely aren't mandatory or anything like that, but the reason I really like gloves is because it helps with my grip, and it allows me to focus on the exercise rather than focusing on my grip or my loss of grip. So it's really good when you're holding onto something like a barbell, like let's say if you're doing rows or if you're doing bench press or something like that. It really helps with your grip and it allows you to just focus on the movement as much as possible rather than your grip. Alright guys, so next up we have wrist straps. Now these are the type of wrist straps that I have, but I wouldn't recommend these ones. I'll put a picture up on screen of the wrist straps that you guys should get. Now, if you guys are wondering why I got the worst version of the wrist strap possible, it's mainly because when I really got into bulking and I started lifting heavier, I really just wanted to get straight into it and I didn't really think about it. Now, if you guys are wondering why wrist straps are so important, it's mainly because when you really start to lift heavier, your grip is gonna fall out. So what wrist straps do is they attach to your arm and they allow you to lift much heavier than you can without wrist straps and without using a mixed grip. Alright guys, now up next we have wrist wraps, which work a little bit differently than wrist straps. So what wrist wraps do is they just wrap around your wrist, as the name implies, and they just keep your wrist stable while you're doing stuff like benching. Now, I have to admit, wrist straps aren't really that useful and they're not the best thing to use in the gym in my opinion, and they're really not necessary. But the reason I like to use them is because I have really small wrists, so it helps me a lot when I'm benching. Oh yeah guys, and I forgot to mention this, but again, it's the same case with these wrist straps. I got some trashy Walmart wrist straps, so I'll put a picture up on screen of really good wrist straps that you guys should get into. Alright guys, now for my last arm equipment that I actually use in the gym, it is going to be elbow wraps. Now, the reason I think elbow wraps are very useful is especially when you're like benching or maybe squatting, some exercise where your elbows are flared out. It's really good because it allows you to focus on the exercise rather than focusing on how your grip is or where your elbows are or if your arms are slipping or not. Okay everyone, so now we're gonna move on to lower body. So for lower body, the first piece of equipment I use that I think is the most useful gym equipment ever created, that is going to be a belt. Now a belt is mainly used just for leg exercises and mainly for the squat, I would say. But it's still very, very, very useful because by using a belt, it'll allow you to lift more and lift heavier weights, and additionally, it'll put way less strain on your lower back. And if your lower back gets strained, then you're screwed. You're gonna be out for weeks and you're not gonna be able to lift at all. Alright guys, and finally, we have knee wraps. Now knee wraps do the exact same thing as elbow wraps except for your knees. So they just keep them in place and it's really good when you're squatting, but it's definitely not necessary. If you feel like you may have knee problems or anything like that, I would definitely recommend knee wraps. Okay people, now if you've made it this far into the video, we're gonna get into the part that every person who starts fitness is most excited about: supplements. Now, for me personally, I think supplements are pretty much a waste of money. Like, some of them are very good, which I'll get into, but most of them are just a complete waste of money, and there's a reason they're called supplements, because they're supposed to supplement your diet and nothing more than that. They're not supposed to replace any meals or replace anything else within your diet. Now, as far as supplements go, the only supplement that I actually use is a Centrum multivitamin, which I'll put up on screen now, how that looks and everything like that. But other than this, I don't use anything else. I mean, I have whey protein powder, which protein powder is very good supplement. It's probably one of the best supplements out there. But me personally, I don't weigh that much, so I don't need to get a lot of protein in to maximize my protein. So I just get my protein from Whole Foods. But if you're like a really big guy and you need to eat a lot of protein, then I would definitely recommend protein powder. Now, another supplement that has been highly researched and that I would recommend is creatine. Creatine is a very good supplement, and it basically helps you get in like 1 to 2 more reps with your lifts, and it overall makes you stronger and makes your muscles look better. Now, obviously, you guys can do your own research on creatine, but me personally, I don't use creatine just because I don't really care for it, but it's definitely a good supplement to use if you want to use it. And the last supplement that I would recommend is caffeine. Now, I say supplement, but realistically, you could just have an energy drink, you can have Starbucks coffee, you can have whatever that has caffeine in it. Caffeine is extremely useful, especially when you're cutting. When I was cutting, you bet your that I was using a lot of caffeine to get me through those lifts. Just make sure to know your own body and just make sure you know how many milligrams of caffeine work for you. Now, there's a lot of random supplements that you really don't need to worry about. Beta-alanine, citrulline malate, BCAAs, EAAs, glutamine, and HMB. These supplements may help you, but in reality, they're probably not going to do much. On top of a multivitamin, you guys can also take other vitamins like vitamin D3, for example, and you guys can also get EPA and DHA, which come from fish supplements or fish oils or any fatty fish for that matter. Other than the main supplements that I've listed, the other supplements are not really going to help you at all. So just to clarify, a protein supplement, creatine, caffeine, and a multivitamin. Those are your top 4 supplements that you should even consider if you're going to get into any supplements at all. The rest are pretty much just up for debate. Alright guys, that's gonna do it for this video. I know it wasn't the funnest video to watch, so if you're watching this right now, I really appreciate you. But anyways, this video was just done for educational purposes and just so I could have helped anyone out that was watching who's into fitness or maybe trying to get into fitness. And with that being said, these are the supplements and the gym equipment that I use, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.